So what's up? Good morning, everybody. Working on some patterns. So today I thought I'd talk a little bit about how the Digitac operates, kind of the mainframe of it, and how it's the core of my system. So using the Digitac is basically a drum sampler. When you think about it, any of the Digitac's functions, you can copy from different patterns and paste them. We were talking about this yesterday. And when I select a new pattern, program change is telling the Digitone what to do. So some of the main setup is definitely program change. It's definitely me calling out the tempo. It helps me pick the genre of music I'm picking, because when you select the pattern you're on, you can pick a tempo. Let's say we said 92 and we say yes. There's also swing built in right there too. And then as you pick inside of the track, as soon as I pick and I go to the source page, you can select any sample that's in the box. There's 128 of them that get loaded into the memory. And I have a bunch of really neat samples, just easy kicks and snare drums. And I use a little bit of overdrive to wave shape. So there's I turn down the volume and turn up the overdrive on a sound. It makes it have a little bit more life. And then basically we're only in a 16 pattern right here, so if I hit play, the other thing I tend to do is I rename the pattern right before I do anything. I make up a name. So if I'm just like hello 7, it's like a joke, but yep. And then I'll go over here and do the same thing. So I'll name it. And I name all my patterns so that I know if I'm playing live what the actual song is that I'm playing. And it also tells me if both boxes are on the same page. So do yourself a favor, name both of them, name the pattern, right? If you create sounds, I always say name the sounds as well, if you want to make them easy to recall. And then with my kick drum, I'm just going to make a pretty simple breakbeat pattern. And I have everything muted in the green, which mutes it across the board. So function, if you touch one of the green ones, it mutes. And then I'm going to say track number 2, and this is where my snare drum would be, right? Now there's an 808 snare drum, I think, loaded already, just because that's what I have loaded And this sample sounds a hair late. I can already hear that. So you can go to the start point of the sample. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of overdrive and a little bit of reverb. So quickly, you can hear that I make my pattern. I pick 92 beats per minute. I picked a break beat. So this should feel fairly intuitive, I say is the word, right? May I dare say that, right? And then again, when you're getting ready, the chords is kind of like a very important part about what I pick first. So my Juno-ish sound, my joke, right? And then I just make sure I pick my key right now. So I could be E minor, right? Let's say I pick. Right, so I just get ready. I pick a chord. I'm going to make this 4 bars long and say yes. And then I'll make this 4 bars long, say yes. Resync everybody. So now it's 4 bars. Very simple. I picked E minor. Right. And when we're looking at that digitone, I know it's 4 bars. I know that it's 8 voices. I'm only going to play 3 of them. And I'm just going to play like an E minor chord to make this easy. So. And I did the hinge trick where I hinge on a 6 and a 4. And then I always pick bass right here. Bass, I just use the E note. And if I picked super simple, right? So it's just always the basics thing for me. I always go back to basics. Using E minor as the chord is what I'm doing. And then if I wanted to play like a lead synth, just depends on what you have plugged in, what you have MIDI sync. I would just know to play E minor. Right. And I'm going to make sure I got plenty of bars. So I go 4 bars here. And then again, to track sync, I just restart everything, you know, because then I know the 1 and everything is the same. So the key here is making sure you've got the 1 in your beat, and then it's red, so it's recording. Super simple. And I can add a little bit of delay to that sound and turn it down in the mix. But here we are. That's the most basic kind of way of writing. I did 2 sounds here, a bass and a chord. I did 2 drum sounds here on the sampler. This is FM synthesis, where this is samples. And then I definitely played a synthesizer here, which is just this noise style of engine. So when you're creating music, again, in the space of digital or sequencers, let's call it, world, whether I'm making analog sounds or recording digital, the advantages are, of course, unlimited ability to make tracks. Like, you don't really run out of track count. The Digitakt has so much room to store patterns that I don't sit here worried about that. I just worry about getting in a good flow state, writing some really good parts. And then same with the Digitone, I know that I have plenty of presets and sounds that I can layer into the mix. You have 8 banks of like 256 sounds, so there's a lot going on in the Digitone. And I think same with like when you load 127 sounds into here, it gets kind of big, you know, you start having a really good time. So going back to what we were working on, I believe there's like 10 engines inside the OPXY, so And that's it, all on E minor. That was the hinge we played on. Hi-hat recording, right? Add the ride cymbal, right? How we're making different parts now, different drums, right?